first battle that is always the one that you're going to have to fight is the one in your mind. And doctors may give you a diagnosis that is not a death sentence.
If you see just a pea-size cyst on your breast, you run to the doctor because you can save your life with just that knowledge. You can't wait.
Tonight we're going to be talking about breasts, boobs, tatas, the girls, whatever you call them. We're going to be talking about them all night because it's about strength and survival tonight. The real talk on breast cancer and breast implant illness. And tonight's guest is our favorite, Sonia van Hecke. She's a health and wellness advocate and breast cancer survivor.
For folks out here that are going to be listening to this through the recording or right now live, I want you to know that the first battle that is always the one that you're going to have to fight is the one in your mind. And doctors may give you a diagnosis that is not a death sentence. And that's the first thing that you have to recognize, that that is their opinion on what they've been taught and what they feel it may be. But there might be other folks out there that can give you a whole different perspective if you have the mindset to want to win. If you're already given up and you're throwing in the towel before the battle even started, then you have a lot of other things that have to be uncovered. It could be a lot of emotional scars. So just to let you know a little bit about my journey and how it began. So I was almost diagnosed at 49, but it's been 11 years since I've had breast cancer. And before I had breast cancer, these are the things that had happened to me personally. First of all, I had taken birth control. They tell you on the warning that it can cause a lot of different things. You're messing with hormones that you have no idea how you're going to need them in your future, okay? Secondly, I had a lot of abuse, not only mentally, physically, and a bad relationships, because even with my ex-husband, it was not as toxic as, I had 6 kids. It had to be good sometimes, right? But there was still toxic stuff in there. And I always think about the times we got in a physical fight and when he pushed me on my chest, could have that have caused something, right? So there were those things. There was the eating. I was not a good eater. I had to work a lot to support my kids, and I had not a lot of time to do it. So you accumulate all these things, and that's one thing that I'm hoping we get a lot more young folks on here so they can hear, look, you're going to live by 2 ways. You're either going to learn by other people's experience or you're going to learn by your own experience. I'm hoping that you're going to learn by the first one, by our experience, trying to tell you, start focusing in on that health. It's not right now that things change. It's 10, 20 years from now when you start seeing the ramifications of that lifestyle or that situation that was going on in your life. So that's where I was at. So by the time I got diagnosed with my breast cancer, I think it was like 8 years prior, they had found something in my breast. They said it was something that needed to have a needle biopsy, okay? So obviously there was already something culminating inside of my breast. I just didn't know what it was. And I just thought, okay, they did the biopsy. They said, oh, it was benign. It was no big deal. And I just went on my merry way with my same lifestyle and my same health habits and my no exercise doing person, right? My sedentary lifestyle. I continued doing nothing about it. And this is where I'm telling you, there's lights that come on a car. They call them idiot lights. By the time they turn on, guess what? You probably already blew out your engine. Your body is no different. Your body is giving you signs when you're tired, when your head needs rest. Whatever the sign may be that you're feeling, your knees hurting, you really need to pay close attention because there might be something that you're lacking. And that's where a doctor like Dr. Roni, with your nutritional background, digging deep into what's inside of a person that's unlevel, that maybe your magnesium's low, or maybe your B12 is low, or whatever it is that's low, that's what you need. You need a doctor that is a professional at healing you naturally. You see, you were built with an innate immune system. That means that your immune system, as long as you give it what it needs, guess what? It's going to do what it's supposed to do. But if it's lacking something, it might not function the way it should. So there I go. I do the needle biopsy. I continue living life at large like I was. And here is at age 39. They tell me that, and it was the most scariest thing that I've ever had done. The mammogram person told me, I need you to go get an ultrasound. So they scheduled me for an ultrasound. I think nothing of it because I've done this needle biopsy already. Okay. So I go in and I do this ultrasound, and the technician does the ultrasound, walks out of the room, comes right back in and says, you need to go see the doctor right away. I go, is there something wrong? My twins are only like 3 years old. I have a baby girl, my first girl, my little boy. I'm just thinking, oh my God, I'm going to die. Right. And that's where I'm telling you, don't do that. Words are profound and they emit energy. Don't go there. You don't know what's going on until you know what's going on, And so that doctor told me you need to make an appointment right away. I set up an appointment with a general surgeon because that's who they send you to when you need to get breast cancer taken out of your body. So they sent me to breast general surgeon, and that general surgeon didn't speak my language. Every doctor is different. Every doctor has a different bedside manner. Some can speak to you in a common person way and kind of give you some assurance that, this is what's going on. This is what's next. And this is who's going to handle getting you to that part. Well, those two pieces didn't happen. The doctor just said, oh, yeah, okay. And we'll schedule you for surgery. And I'm like, do I really want surgery? Is that what I want for my body? I didn't know, and again, get yourselves a good coach. If you have any of these, I do insurance for a living every day of the week. If you have insurance, reach out to the insurance if you don't know how your insurance works. They have all kinds of professionals behind the scene that can guide you to finding, hey, you know what? You really do want that second opinion by an alternative medicine doctor? They'll probably tell you where to go. Okay. So I didn't have that. So what did I do? What's second best? I went to go Google. Do you guys understand Google gives you skewed answers? Sometimes it gives you okay answers. Most of the times it gives you a skewed answer. But I went researching. I finally found this one doctor. It was Dr. Harness. He has a website. It's called Breast Cancer Answers. Breast Cancer Answers. Hopefully it makes sense to you. But I started listening to his videos. And back then, we're talking about almost 11 years ago, he was speaking to me. He stopped my scroll. He actually made me feel better about how I can go about dealing with this thing. So I looked for him and I asked, I want an appointment with that guy. I want to see that guy. And luckily that guy was here in my city and I was able to see him. And right away, he sent me over to go get the what's it called? Genomic, some type of gene oncotype to see where I was. Was it genetic? What was going on? And then they also tested the breast cancer to see if it was receptive to chemotreatment or radiation. And in my situation, I'm going to tell you, every woman is so different with breast cancer. Please do not take my story and think my story is your story. You might have a totally different degree of cancer, okay? And what do I mean by that? That means that your cancer might be at a different stage than mine was. I got lucky. Remember, I went every year after that first diagnosis of that nodule that was found or whatever it was that was found that was benign. I kept going every year faithfully to make sure that I got, if anything developed, I was able to catch it in its first stages. And that's one thing that I'm going to tell you. A lot of people put off something because they just don't want to hear what the doctor's going to tell them. Please don't do that. Look, whether you have something or you don't have something, it's better to know than to not know. I've seen my friends have breast cancer stage 4, and they're still battling with it right now. And it's been years. They got diagnosed before me, and they're still dealing with it. I'm not dealing with it. I took proactive steps to make sure that I tried to deal with it as best as I wanted to for my body. And that's where I was telling you, you need to make sure that you are comfortable with whatever decision you're going to make on your body, that it is your decision and that you own it and that you're comfortable with it. But know all your options before you start going under the knife or doing these radical things that, you know what, if you found just the right doctor that might give you some natural healing, You might not have to go through that extensive surgery. And the cancer, yeah, it could go away. I've seen testimonies like you wouldn't believe of people that have survived cancer. But like I said, the first battle in the mind. The second thing, you always have to be preventative. The third thing, get yourselves a doctor that's holistic in approach and that will listen to you. And that's what I found with that Dr. Harness. And then I found my plastic surgeon, and they both, between all of them, they've taken care of me. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, obviously my doctors have switched over again to new doctors, but I stay consistent. I don't not go. Cancer is like grass seed in the body. And if you've ever thrown grass seed out in the yard, some of it sprouts, some of it doesn't. And you just got to stay vigilant. You got to stay on top of your exams. If something's up, hey, change it. But don't just stay in that same lifestyle that you originally were told something and you did nothing different. You continued, because you'll just end up down that road of that diagnosis. I believe that I wish I would have had a holistic doctor when I was first told I had a nodule. I believe that if I would have changed my diet, done the exercise, I would have never had breast cancer. I truly believe that. But because I continued that same lifestyle, your body can only take so much toxins, right?
It's everything, because you got to understand that cancer is a whole body disease, and we all have some of the cancer cells. So you have to ask yourself, why do some people get it and some don't, right? We all have a toxic load as well. And we all have chemicals that are highlighting in our bodies that promote cancer cells to grow. We're all individuals, and the science always says that you are who you are based on the internal chemistry that's growing inside you or that's not growing inside you. And you can save lives by having a better lifestyle. I mean, I talk about my grandmother all the time, who basically she taught me that your medicine is in the kitchen, but we all believe that we have to have a pill, or we have to have, some drip, or we have to have, all of these things, when hundreds of years ago, they survived. Do you know that hundreds of years ago, they didn't know about cancer? And why is cancer so prominent today? So that just goes to show you, that proves a point what she just said. Of course, the scientific doctors are going to disagree with what she just said. Of course they are. But we're living proof. We can see it all the time that so many people survive it based on their lifestyle, especially at stage 1. You could change this thing around.
There seems to be some things that have come with the lifestyle that, this consumerism lifestyle, this high sugar, what you call the high fives, right? The high fives lifestyle, that has created an atmosphere for this in our bodies. Is that?
Absolutely.
Right.
We live in a very toxic world that promotes cancer cells every single day, faster than we can say it.
One of the things that I thought about too, Dr. Roni, where do we put deodorant at? Right under our armpits, where it's your lymphatic system. You start clogging up your lymphatic system. It's like that thing is trying to clear out all these toxins, and you're trying to just eliminate some odor.
Right.
When you could have changed your diet and made sure your pH balance is on point, and that probably would have been a change in your odor, I would imagine. Is that not correct?
Yeah, you can do the research on deodorant causes cancer, breast cancer. It changes the chemistry in your body. You block your lymphatics, and it has metals in it. Our deodorant have metals in it, guys, and it's a direct. What do you say? It travels directly from your armpits into your breast, into your system. And that's known science that no one wants to talk about. But they should take some of these deodorants off the market. Instead, everybody says, okay, well, I use Tom's, but basically Tom's is better than the rest, right? But it's been proven that some of these deodorants have been linked to breast cancer, amongst many other things. We're just picking on that right now. But, these are things that, our grandparents and their parents have never had to worry about. Never. They didn't even have the money for all that stuff that we pay for.
I guess if we're aware of these things, then we actually get to control what goes on the shelves, because we're the consumers. So if we won't buy deodorant with aluminum in it, or food with toxins in it, or right, then
Yes.
then the corporations out there, they won't have any consumers.
Right. They'll start changing. They'll start changing. And you're actually starting to see some of the smarter corporations now
Right.
are starting and trying to go natural. So we are making a dent, but not a big enough dent because people are still dying faster. But I think it's the change of like holistic medicine is becoming like really, really the niche now, right? 25, 30 years ago when I first started, I was like this weird holistic doctor. Now people fly in from all over the country to see this weird holistic doctor. So times are changing. And I think that, the more and more that we educate people and the more we have people like Sonia that's telling people, listen, stop it with the fear, stop it by saying that, you're going to die. And it's not a death sentence. You heard her say it. It's not anymore.
And we want to talk about not just cancer, because there's all kinds of other things that happen to our girls. And Gabriela Daughtery is here to talk tonight about breast implant illness. Gabriela, can you give us some idea of what is breast implant illness? How does somebody get it? So you've had your boobs done, right? For whatever reason, a cosmetic surgery or medical surgery.
Right. Basically, breast implant illness is because you have had implants. Okay. It's an encapsulation. It's your body's way of protecting you because there's this foreign object in there, whether it's silicone or saline. It's still the body's amazing. And it'll try to protect us from these implants. And most women don't complain. Most women just say, oh, they're just implants. But your body will encapsulate anything foreign you put in your body, whether it's implants. People put butt implants in too. They put implants in their face, but in the long run, it's not worth it. It really isn't. There are specialists, doctors that if you're going to have your implants removed because you've had problems, and that was kind of my problem, but let me just talk about this doctor. You have to look up breast implant expert. You can't just go to a basic surgeon, because what a breast explant surgeon does is they go in there and they scrape everything out of the pocket where the implant is. If he does not do that and he leaves the encapsulation, which is, one of the doctors put it this way, it's like the orange peel of an orange. It gets about that thick. So that has to be scraped off the muscle. And it's very time consuming. And it has to be completely be removed. Otherwise, you're going to continue having breast implant illness, which means you get rashes. You could get cancer, like lymphoma, let's say. You can get autoimmune conditions, headache, just about every mystery illness you can think of. And people don't realize that it's their implants. Wherever you have implants, it can basically be an allergic reaction. It's an autoimmune reaction. It's just something awful. It's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. If you've breastfed, like I had breastfed my kids, we have 5, but 4 are mine. And I breastfed 6 years, okay? So I felt, okay, I need a mommy makeover. But if I had known then what I know now, I even had my first set of implants removed and others put in because I kept getting encapsulation, and it's painful. It's painful. It's also very, like, right now I'm actually looking for an expert, and I found one. He's in Newport Beach. But what happens is when your body encapsulates, it fluid builds up around your tissue. So, and it expands. And I can feel my implants I can feel the fluid under them, and I can feel the immediate reaction to the autoimmune condition I'm having right now, right towards my armpit area. I just have fluid there. It's just, it's an uncomfortable feeling. And no matter how much weight I lose, I still feel swollen there. So don't put fillers, don't put implants, don't even put tattoos, because I have a friend that does tattooing for breast cancer survivors. The tattoo ink is full of heavy metals, okay? So if you think that you're gonna do reconstruction and then have some tattoos of nipples put on the skin, don't even do that.
Right.
Because you're looking for more, and tattoos are the worst because they can give you cancer of the lymphatics. And so don't do that. Tattoos are, if you have them, leave them alone, okay? And use a heavy metal binder, but don't even try removing them, because when you remove them, you do worse. The tattoo is just, it can actually kill you faster. So just don't get tattoos, don't get implants. And if you need to have maybe a mommy makeover, just have a breast lift, okay? And they may be able to use your own fat to fill the breast. They may not be big or, plump, but at least you'll have something.
I see a lot of problems with implants. Otherwise, they don't come to me, right? So what I see basically is a lot of people who have a compromised immune system already. And a lot of them, so you have to remember, if you've got cancer, then your body has already broken down. And sometimes they don't wait long enough for the healing process to occur, because a lot of times doctors will say, okay, you need to do this right away, and they end up doing it right away, and they're not healthy enough to do it. So the ones who do survive the breast implant are those who are healthy and waited a very long time, and it was done right. Just like Gabrielle said, it was done right by an expert. I have seen a lot of autoimmune conditions based off of someone who has done implants. And most of the time it was because it was done too fast. They were very unhealthy. And the other thing that happened was they were on too many medications. Your body can only handle so much. You cannot just say, okay, now I'm going to do this, because breast cancer is like any other cancer. It can be a whole body disease, just like I said earlier. So you always have to remember, am I healthy enough? Do I have the right nutrition? What about my blood work? How is my CRP levels? You got to remember, if you are already inflamed, if you already have an inflammatory process going on, and then you end up doing the breast implant, you have now compromised you. Have I seen some success? Absolutely, I have. But most of the time I don't, and that's only because of who I am. A lot of people come to me that already been broken down in their immune system. That's why I specialize in the immune system now, because I think we can cure a lot of things. We can heal a lot of things with the immune system.
And the other thing I wanted to touch on was breast cysts and those types of things. And also, what do you think of mammograms? Are we causing breast cancer by getting mammograms?
Absolutely. There has been some research. That breast cancer have been increased due to the fact that someone had too many mammograms, right? So now they're doing it differently. They're doing other different types of testing first, and they're preventing women from going in and having that mammogram every 6 months. All right, they get it now. And yes, breast cysts, every little thing that shows up on your breast, just like Sonia says, you cannot wait. You have to be diligent, because there has been so many misdiagnoses with the fact that it's a cyst as opposed to a tumor. Two different things, right? And I think that with the education, I have to keep going back there. You cannot, I've lost a very good friend 15, 20 years ago who had breast cancer so bad that it started woozing And the sore, the breast cancer actually went through her breast to the fact that she had a dollar size oozing sore on her breast. And then we asked her, why did she wait so long? And just like Sonia said, it was fear. It was fear that I don't want to go to the doctors because I might have breast cancer. Well, she did. She had it for about 8 years. And finally, by the time she went to the doctor, she was stage 4. So if you see just a pea-size cyst on your breast, you run to the doctor because you can save your life with just that knowledge. You can't wait.
I think it's so important that breast cancer awareness, all the other aspects of our boobs have to be discussed, and it's not something we sit around and discuss. So I think it's important that at least once a year we talk about it, that at least every month that you do a self exam of your breasts and get to the doctors if there's anything that seems out of the ordinary. So Dr. Roni, you have to go. Your client will be waiting for you. And I want to say thank you for joining us once again. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks, I think. We'll see you again.
One last thing, there is hope.
Maybe
Never forget about hope. And the other thing that's great is we now have specialists area of breast implants. Okay, so research the best expert that you could possibly have. But the one last thing I'm going to leave you with, you must be healthy.
I just wanted to mention, Sonia made a point about deodorant, and there are many recipes on Pinterest. You can actually make a good deodorant with baking soda and oils, essential oils. So you could do that. Maybe make it a girl meeting sometime with your teams. You also need to learn how to do your own lymphatics, work with your lymphatics. What I like to do in the morning is before I do my Peloton, when the days I do my Peloton exercises, I go outside in the morning, ground myself, and just do a little lymphatics, It's important to also, when you do the grounding outside, that sunlight, when it first comes up, it's very, very good for your, I guess it's called circadian rhythm. It helps you sleep at night. It's very beneficial. And also sunset, the sunset sun, the rays at that time as well. And one other thing I wanted to touch on is oral health. Dave and I went to go see a doctor because he is holistic dentistry, and Dave had some root canals removed because root canals will cause cancer eventually. There's a doctor here in Utah. I don't know her name, but there's several holistic dentists that practice basically dentistry on how to remove root canals properly, because not every dentist knows how to do that. They have to remove a root canal that may, a lot of people that basically are lucky enough to know sometimes when you do have cancer, it's due to a root canal. One of the doctors, I was watching a reel, this doctor in Utah said that this tooth right here is the one that causes breast cancer, this one here. So if you got, basically every tooth has a meridian that goes to different areas of our organs. So that's why it's so important to have, obviously at our age, we know how to take care of our teeth. But did we when we were little? Did we when we were teenagers? Did we when we were young adults? No. Believe me, I have 5 kids. I know you have to get on them. Brush your teeth, not just brush them, floss them. Don't use mouthwash. Mouthwash is so horrible for your oral microbiome. It kills nitric oxide in your body. So if you have to brush, scrape your tongue. They sell these tongue scrapers You know, you can buy them anywhere. They look like
It
this.
just happens to have them right there. beside her
Yeah,
tonight.
I do. But this is really good. It's like you have a brand new mouth when you brush your teeth. You scrape and you scrape until nothing comes off. And you won't need mouthwash if you use this and a great toothpaste, which I know we have. It's fluoride free.
Yes.
And it leaves your mouth just clean. And make sure you do floss. Flossing is so important. So important. And I'm just lucky that I don't have cavities now. And but it's a constant thing, like bathing. You just need to take care of your teeth, because your teeth can affect your cardiovascular health, your overall health.
You know, Gabriela, the toothpaste was just revamped and they put postbiotics in it, which, think about that. I mean, I tell people this is too close to this. You understand? It's like they give you pills sometimes and you could put them sublingual, which is under your tongue. What do you think it's doing? It's absorbing quickly into your bloodstream. That's why it's so important, yes, to take care of your mouth. But, you know, last words that I wanted to say was, look, staying healthy costs money, but so does battling an illness. You pick your poison. You pick the one you want to battle with. Most doctors, yes, they treat symptoms and they're going to get you better from those symptoms, but not necessarily are they going to get to the root cause of what happened and how it changed you. A naturopath doctor, you know, and this is where you might have a combination of doctors to help you. You know, right now you told me about the implant doctor. I'm going to probably go look, Gabriela, I need that information. I want to talk to the specialist in the implants. Because yes, if you've had breast cancer and you put implants in, removing them is a huge scar, because not only are you removing the implant, there is no tissue underneath. So that means that there would be holes to fill. So that's something to have to consider. And so before you even go down this path that I went, consider everything when you get diagnosed with something. Talk to the experts in that area. Know your options and make the wisest choice with the information that you have. And don't go back and keep beating yourself up. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. No. Be precautious. Make sure you do your preventative. I didn't have a lump. Mine was just like a ripple. I didn't feel anything. There was no pain, nothing associated with my breast cancer. That's why preventative is the key. So I just want to make sure you guys know that. Preventative, get the experts that know, and remember, it does cost money to stay healthy. And that means it's going to be part of your time to cook those vegetables and get them prepared. So you're preparing your meals with vegetables, you know, that don't have pesticides, herbicides, and all kinds of other stuff. Is it going to cost you more money? Yeah, probably a little bit more. But when you look at the long run and you're not dealing with the cholesterol, the high blood pressures, the cancers, all these other autoimmune diseases that sometimes when you go to the doctor, what do they say? Oh, it's a metabolic disorder. What in the world is that? It means they don't know what it is. That's all it means. So prevent, guys. Just make sure you do everything in your power to educate yourself on what you're going through, because there's somebody out here that wants to help you.
Obviously, we all want to trust our doctors, our Western medicine doctors, and it's fine. Do your thing. But we all have a gut instinct. We all have something that says, get a second opinion. It's fine. Get a second opinion, because I've known people that didn't need a drastic surgery. It was just the opinion of that one doctor. So just, you know, get a second opinion. And if you can, whenever they prescribe medication for me, which I'm not taking any medication right now, I'm just taking my daily supplements. But when I do get a prescription for a medication, I look at all the side effects. And is this something I can fix with good food, exercise, and sunlight? Or is this something that I want to have side effects, you know, harmful side effects in the long run, which I'm going to need more medication for that. So just trust your gut instinct and find a holistic doctor, you know, in your area. There's a lot of them here in San Diego, and they're great. And if you need to look something up, look it up and ask your holistic doctor If you have cancer, then I'm sure there's a lot of great holistic doctors that deal with cancer as well. So just, you know, trust your instinct.
Thank you for sharing how courageous you were, and that, you know, mind over matter matters. Stay cool, everybody. This has been Feel Good, Share Good, where we keep it real to heal.